In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Love and Logic session 4. And I just wanted to get your feedback so far how things is going. Have you tried any of the techniques? Did it work? Did it not work? Any feedback?
I tried the technique today, but it didn't work. So my son was hitting his sister. I was trying to show sympathy, or not sympathy, empathy, because I couldn't. I just told him, you know what, you're gonna be punished for this. No TV today and tomorrow.
Okay.
And then 2 hours later, we had him watch TV. But that didn't work.
Okay. But the whole point is the quick punishment is easy.
Right.
But the love and logic mindset.
It's just hard to show empathy when you know that you did it intentionally.
Yes, it is hard to show empathy, but
Knowing that you did it intentionally.
Yeah, but they all the time, most of the time they did it intentionally. But the whole point is, here it is not about empathy, it is about, oh man, this is not good. Oh boy, this is tough. So he will be, what is tough, and this will be making him think. And I had a similar interaction with the 4 of my kids. We almost less than 10 days back, arguing and being mean to each other, and it goes out of control.
Right.
And I was driving. I told them, "Oh." They looked to me. Who cares, yani? Then I said another time, "Oh." Then what do you mean by this? Why you are doing this? And this is very annoying. So I told them I'm seeing a problem happen. They started being defensive, but it kept repeating couple of times. Then I said, it's okay. There is a problem. You are not fixing the problem. We need to take an action regarding this. They didn't say anything. They didn't do anything. Then, after a few hours, I told them, you know what? After all this has happened, I'm so sorry to tell you that there is no screen for this amount of time. And this is not fair. And you never gave us warning. And I know. I'm sorry. It happens. But the whole point is, when we discipline, when we are angry, they feel it. Which I am doing as well. I'm not saying that this is always perfect. Sometimes even when I'm trying to apply love and logic, I'm bitter or I'm angry while applying it. But the whole point is, it is key to know that just the quick punishment, they know that this is a consequence, but sometimes when we respond, we connect on the not showing empathy because they are doing something wrong, but feeling upset. Oh, this is not good. I think that this was a bad choice. So it is the consequence. They keep thinking, you know what was a bad choice? Okay, maybe next time I need to take. So it keeps them thinking and processing this afterwards. You know what? They called me names, and you are the mean dad, and you are doing this, and you don't want us to have fun. All of the manipulation games. I know, I'm sorry. And you go back and ask, do you know why this happened? You know why we are in this setting? Yes, we know, because if they get it, this is the key. So now they are relating to something. It is not just. Accidents happens, but there is consequences if there is accident. I mean, if your car crashed with an accident, there's consequences. I'm so sorry that it is an accident, but there is consequences. I think the key is putting away the bitterness or the anger or the frustration that is inside of us, and not to put it or project it on, or to put it on the kids. I think this is it. And this is where I am personally struggling, because when they are doing something wrong,
Makes you upset.
yeah, it makes you upset. I want to take an action. But here,
Sometimes they want to see like your reaction too, like
yes,
they do some, in our situation with our children. Sometimes they will do something here to provoke us and see how we react. So
yeah,
I
and
just saw this in the book. It says, "Never tell a stubborn child what to do. Instead, describe what you are willing to do or allow," which is very interesting.
yes, because when they are stubborn, this is an opportunity to tell me to show defiant. So I'm defiant now because simply you are telling me to do this. No, I'm not going to do it. We were in the summer camp a couple of years back, and there was a maybe 5 or 6 years old boy nearby a door, and I told him, Habibi, can you please close the door? And he looked to me in the eye and told me, no. I told him, I'm just asking you to close the door. And it got really escalated with him. Then I said, no problem, don't worry about the door, I will go and I close it. And just avoid the conflict, because you can go in the, even,
This is the kid you know?
yeah, a kid I know, but he just out of, no, out of nowhere, he's just in the mood of, yeah, I'm not obeying. So the more you are giving instruction when he is in this phase, even Trump, the president, fell in this. Do you remember they caught him on, I think the CNN reporter or one of the reporters, and he get escalated and you should not do this, and he escalated. I mean, and you are speaking about two other, this is the president in the White House. But the whole point, it is the human interaction that really is going. It keeps repeating, but the whole point, my challenge or my point is really to be aware when we are bitter, when we are angry, when we are stressed out. It always happens when we are very emotionally drained. الواحد تعبان مش قادر. You are very tired. You don't have the energy to discuss or to change or but we tend to be on the more aggressive side. So it is really يعني I think this is a challenge that we all fall in, and it is a golden opportunity for us to connect with the kids even after the consequences. You know what? I know that this happened. It's unfortunate. I'm sad that this is going on, but this is not going to. When they keep crying or begging or pushing the limits to return back or you know what, remove the punishment, here when we are, the whole thing is of no value. In a setting like this, sometimes, you know what, I would say I'm very upset, I'm very angry, and I will need time to think of what I'm going to do. It's okay. Even in the court system, the judge and the jury, they have a pause and they go inside and they discuss. I mean, so it's okay. But the trick is, I think part of it is self-awareness. When I know that I am tired or I am not in my best shape and I need maybe to think of what I'm saying or what I'm doing more, you can give yourself a leeway with going with things and say, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'm upset or I'm stressed out. I will check. I will return back to mom or dad. I will talk about it and we'll do something about it. It's very powerful. I will do something. You don't say what is this something. till, till, you, till you figure it out. So in the previous session, the co-founders of Love and Logic, they emphasized the importance of setting firm yet loving limits. So let us join Charles as he reviews this essential skill. The best chocolate shake. This video.
So raise your hand if you've ever tried to force a young child to brush their teeth. Okay. Pretty good way to lose a finger, isn't it? Yeah. And, I have to admit, even though I know Love and Logic very well, and I was raised for, at least part of my childhood with it, there are times when I have still experimented with the power method, okay? Namely, you brush your teeth now. And, I've even experimented with saying "for crying out loud" before I said that, and it still didn't seem to work that well. And from time to time, I just kind of have to remind myself of, okay, what am I telling other people to do? And maybe I should try that. Well, my wife and I have found that it just works so much better in our home when we use enforceable statements. Now, what's an enforceable statement? Well, it's a way of setting limits when we're working with strong-willed kids. And see, I set limits by describing what I'm going to do and allow instead of trying to boss the kid around. And so it always works a lot better for us if I can remember to say, hey, I allow kids who brush their teeth to enjoy treats, right? Well, I'm in the bathroom with little Cody James, and I just love that little guy so much. He's so much fun. Never a dull moment. But we're in the bathroom, and I'm helping him finish up brushing his teeth. And he's 3 years of age. And, once in a while we have a little struggle with it. And if the kid says no, then what do? You say, no problem. You don't have to brush your teeth. And then you let it go. And then the next day, the whole family enjoys lots of carbohydrate-laden goodies. And when he says, I want some, you can be empathetic and say, I know. And we give nice treats to kids who protect their teeth by brushing. Well, this was a good night, though. He was finishing up on his teeth, but, with the little kids in our home, we believe that brushing the teeth is not complete until the parent has an opportunity to get in there and kind of finish up, The little kids have a hard time getting all the spots, and so everything's going great. Yeah, he's brushed his teeth, now it's my turn. I have the toothbrush, I put it in his mouth, and I have no idea why he did this. He pulled away, he screamed, no! And then he smacked me right across the kisser. Fortunately, I remembered that little thing I teach people. When you have no idea what to do, or you're so angry or just bewildered by what's just happened, you say, no problem. Let's practice that. No problem. Love you too much to fight with you about this. I'll take care of it. It doesn't even actually have to fit the situation very well. You just say, no problem. Love you too much to fight with you about this. I'll take care of it. And then you get away from the kid. I'm really into research-based techniques. Research-based techniques. And did you know that there's actually research that has shown that it is significantly less likely. It's significantly less likely that you're going to have an unwinnable power struggle or argument with your kid when you're no longer there. Yeah, it seems to be very effective. I think it was a team of 16 PhDs came up with that idea. Well, anyway, I get away from him because I know that I'm not going to say or do anything that I'm going to be proud of if I try to think and act when I'm that upset. Well, he goes to bed, and the next day we're out and about.
I think this is a key. I received a phone call from a mom who really had a huge argument with a teenager in her home. They went into an argument. Then the mom is telling the teenager, go to your room. And the teenager is saying, no, I'm not going to my room. No, you are going to your room. Escalation, 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 to the extent that the neighbors called the police. Just leaving the scene is priceless idea. Priceless idea. You know what? It seems that the things is not going to go well, and you disappear. You just leave.
You're not worried you're giving them the impression that you get defeated.
No, this is
Even if it's temporary,
even if it is temporary, but it diffuses the whole setting. But because sometimes you cannot, you don't tell me go to your room. No, I tell you go to your room. Oh. This it's a war. It is endless, and we fall in this trap of argument, big time.
And you know it's a losing battle.
It's a losing battle, and one of the rules of parenting, it's better not to have a strong or a willpower between the two. But if you have to go through it, you have to win it. If you have to go through it, if it is a must, you know what, we have to win it. But the wisest is to avoid from the get-go. As he said, you know what, I mean, he can, after his kid did this to him, he can go and it can go really escalated. But no problem. I love you too much to fight or to argue, and give yourself a place on time. Just relax and think about it, not to be emotional, and come with a strategy. And I think this is very, very helpful, even in marital issues. When things is escalating, the wise is not the soft response diffuses anger. الجواب اللين يصرف الغضب. When we are in for example, we are in tension, she said this, he said this, then it keeps escalating, it goes out of control. The wise will be saying, what, this is going out of control. Let us have a pause here. But it is, do you know the roller coaster? The train is going tack, 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 going up all the way. Then after it reached the top, goes all the way, full speed, you cannot control it. The key is to know when you are far enough from the peak. Because if you are very close to the peak, you lost it. And when we lose it, خلاص. It's out of control. You cannot control yourself. The kids sometimes, or the spouse cannot control. And this is one of the main things, really main things in keeping the relationship strong between within the couples and also within the kids. That, you know what, I know that this is escalating. I always ask couples, anger is, think of anger as from a scale from 1 to 10. When you reach 7, it is like this peak that the roller coaster. You are dropping. It's going out of control. Have you done any snowboarding or skiing? When there is a small part that you have control, where you can adjust, you can walk. But once you are on the slope, if you have someone in front of you, you cannot even control it. You cannot move. It's exactly in anger and frustration. Keeps escalating, and those who are wise and self-aware will be saying, you know what? No, I don't need to go in this. If I lost it, then I'm out of control. I'm not the best of me. I'm hurting the people who are around me, whether in work, whether in. So my question is, 7 is when you lose control. What is your 5? Because when you are in 5, You know that, I'm very close to 7, but I can't stop. I can know, this is, I don't want to get in there. So I always ask couples, what is your 5? And I remember one guy told me, my 5 is when I start closing the windows of the house. He knows that he's going to, to go out of control. He starts closing the windows of the house. Another person told me, my 5 is when I start holding my fist hardly كده, very tense. I feel tension in my body, and I know that it is going to happen. Another one, he told me when I start whistling. He's trying to cool down, but he's very, very close. He's very close to the 7. Another person told me when I start texting like crazy and I respond very, 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 even I cannot see what I'm talking when I'm sending the text messages. The key is, what is your 5? Because if you know this is the 5, then in any adult setting, I say, no, this is my 5. I need to take time out, time break. I need to take a breath. I need to return back, to hold off on whatever we are discussing, because the damage that is coming after the 7 is really, really, many times irreversible. Whether it is damage between spouses, whether it is damage between us and the kids. So it is a key to know where really you find yourself. You are not the best that you can. Sorry for interrupting the video, but it is of utmost importance. You disappear, or you are not there. And in marital issues, it is important to communicate before. Because I remember a couple telling me, but when he's upset, it is very, very tough. So I told her, what do you mean by tough? She told me, he doesn't speak. So I told her, he doesn't speak for how long? She told me for a month. He doesn't speak for a month. This is profound. So, or he goes outside of the home and I don't know where he is or what happened. So communication in the time of peace is very helpful in the time of war.
So you're suggesting that maybe the man should tell his wife, when I'm upset, I'm going to take the car for a drive for a couple of hours and then I'll come back.
Whatever they agree on, but the communication in the time of peace. You know what? I am not feeling good. I'm very stressed out. I don't want to speak about this topic. Let us pause. Let us revisit this. Or I'm very, very stressed out and I need a break. I will go walk to the nearby coffee shop and I will get a coffee and I'll come back. But communicating this when we are not in the war zone, in the peaceful time, it's much easier. Okay, you know what, Taban, I know that you are going to leave and you are going to return back within this amount of time. But sometimes the unpredictability or the unknown or uncertainty of what the other person is doing is causing more harm to the relationship.
The whole family's in the car, we're out and about, and he spots them. Yes, he spots them in the distance. That beacon of hope that all small children can see in the distance before their parents can. The golden arches. And he starts going on and on. A fake! I want a fake! What's a fake? A shake. Yes, a chocolate shake. I don't know. Oh, divine intervention. We pull into the McDonald's drive-thru. We order 4 chocolate child-sized steaks. There were 5 people in the car. We got 4 child-sized chocolate steaks. And as we were driving away, we were handing them out. And we hear this little squeaky voice in the back. Where's mine? You forgot me. Oh.
he was helping his son to brush his teeth, and his son hit him while he is brushing his teeth. So he told him, the speaker told him, no problem, and I love you too much to argue or to fight, and he left the scene so as not to escalate, to get it escalated. But and then he is saying the story of the sheikh, and this is how he responded to it.
So that's the next day?
Yeah, this is the next day.
Shot the shakes. As we're in those shakes on that day, and to tell you the truth, I couldn't help but exclaim with great joy how good that shake was. It was good. It was a real good shake. 2 days later, I'm sitting in the family room, and he's in the bathroom with my wife. He's getting finished up. And he appears all of a sudden in his little fruity jammies. Don't you love those things? They're so cute. And he's not even touching the ground. Have you ever seen a kid that was so happy that they weren't even touching the ground and immediately jumps? Yeah, he's just levitated off of the ground, and his face is just like this. He's like, I said, what's going on? He said, I brushed my teeth. And I said, wow. And he said, and I did the other with my mommy. And I thought, life is good, isn't it? Yeah. And see, can we be pretty successful as kids again when we can remember that, when we get in a tight spot, we can always fall back on saying something like, no problem, love you too much to fight with you about this, I'll take care of it. Yeah.
Firm and loving limits are good for kids, but do they thank us when we set them up or we set the limits? Definitely not. In this session, we will learn more tips of setting limits without going to war. The following visual summarizes what we will learn. The visual is also included in page 34 in the workbook. This is the second one.
Spend a little time changing gears and talking about giving kids choices and why we do that. And just thinking about car salesmen for a second here. When you last went to the car dealership, what did you find the good salesman doing? Asking lots of questions, giving you a lot of choices about colors, about transmissions, about front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, leather interior, cloth interior. Why is that? Is it because they're really concerned about your well-being? Or is it because they hold the power when they're giving you choices? I met a guy the other day who said, I found a way past that. Yeah, he said, I figured out when I go to the car dealership and I'm answering all those questions and making all those choices, I'm actually a puppet for that person. They're deciding for me what I think about. So he said, just for fun, I went down to the Audi dealer and I asked the salesman, would you like for me to take a test drive in one of your cars? And what did the salesman say? Absolutely. Would you like for me to drive your car even though I'm not going to answer any questions today? Huh? Yeah, I don't answer questions when I come to drive cars, but if I like the car, I'll come back tomorrow and you can ask all the questions you want and I'll answer all of them. And he said, I had a wonderful drive in your car, and he said, I got to think about all the things I wanted to think about instead of what he wanted to think about. He said, that's so much fun. I went to the Honda dealership and I said, would you like for me to just take a test drive in your car even though I don't answer questions The nice thing about it is I've got a real good handle on what kind of car I'm going to buy next, not just the one that the salesman has kind of pushed me into. But who has all the power when we're asking questions and giving choices? That person doing that. And I met a person like that one time, and I walked away from it with great respect. See, there was a time when I did most of my presentations in a driving situation, because I started out in Colorado. I'd be driving from here to there. I would drive to one presentation, I'd drive to the next presentation. And I found out that I was actually just doing a limited number of things. I was speaking in front of audiences like this, driving like crazy to the next presentation. That's number 2. And number 3, standing out on the highway explaining it to policemen. Oh, boy, I got to find a way to avoid these tickets. And I talked to somebody I really admired, and he said something like, well, you've got 100 hours of graduate level psychology. You think you'd figure out one thing that you could use in the real world. What he didn't know is I took a course on how to respond to stupid statements like that. Oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. Thank you. I'll look into it. And I did. Talked to my good friend, the psychiatrist. Lost your mind. I didn't bring the two of us. We came up with a wonderful technique. And I got to practice it a bunch of times. Got good at it. 11 warning tickets in a row in the state of Colorado. In a row. Oh, yeah. But then made a horrible mistake. Exceeded the speed limit in the state of Texas, where they must train their troopers different. I had this big old Texas trooper put my moves on me so fast I couldn't put any of my moves on him. He stopped me, got out of the car, walked, ambles over, big hand. He said, hey, Colorado license plate, bet you're on a trip. And I said, yeah, going down to Florida. And he said, why? I said, I'm going to visit my kids. Haven't seen them in a long time. He says, oh, I bet that explains it. He said, bet you were anxious to get there, huh? Well, yeah, I was kind of anxious to get there. Why? He said, well, tell you why I stopped. He said, this is such a bummer. Oh, no, I've heard that before. He said, the radar said 73 miles an hour, and that's not all that bad, but this is a 55 mile an hour speed limit. And when it gets that bad, I got to write you all a ticket. Now, don't feel bad. And I didn't until he said that, you know. He said, now, don't feel bad. He said, you don't have to go back to Vernon and the county seat to pay the tickets. He said, that's only one of your choices. He said, let me give you this letter here that the state provides, and it lists all your choices in this manner. See, and the first one right here, it says, go back to Vernon, just 15 miles, take you about 15 minutes here, go back, pay the fine, it's all over, you never have to think about it. But then he sounds like your basic social worker. But I'm wondering if the second decision might be better for you. Because it says, see, continue to trip. Have a good time. Try not to worry about this. See, you got 2 weeks. And he said, look at all these choices the state gives you on this. He said, you can just pay it later. See, they will accept cash, credit cards, money orders, and he goes on down the list. He said, now you all might want to think about that before you do anything. And then he said, sure understand a car like this one getting away from you on these straight roads. He said, it's just deadly, these big powerful cars, these straight roads in Texas. He said, now you all have a good vacation. I hope you enjoy your kids. You all come back, you hear? And I'm going back to my car and I'm saying to myself, I trained that guy. I can't believe what happened. I get in the car. I said, Shirley, I can't believe what I just did out there. And she said, what? I said, I just got through thanking him for the crummy ticket. That's what I did. But all the time while he's giving me all these choices, I'm thinking to myself, am I going back to Vernon? No, I'm going to continue to, wait a minute. I wonder if they rat on you in Colorado. I wonder what's going to happen to my insurance premiums. I wonder if they're too busy to put my moves on him. But how do I feel about that guy? Any animosity? Haven't sent him flowers yet, but do have a lot of respect. Did he have a lot of power? Did he use it in a really loving way? Huh? And did I get to learn one of those real lessons? That was way back when the speed limit was 55 miles an hour. You know how hard it is to drive all the way across the state of Texas at 55 miles an hour? And guess who bought a radar detector down in Florida? Yeah.
This was a funny one. So, in page 34 in the book, or actually 35. I'm sorry I don't have extra copies. If you have your book. Sharing control and providing choices within limits. I think it's a unique concept. Control, like love, is something that slips through our fingers when we demand it, yet comes in abundance when we share it. Control is like love. When we demand, you cannot demand love, and also you cannot demand control. When you give choices, like this police officer in Texas, when he gave him the choices, you have this option, you can do this and you can do that. I was in a visit with one of the abunas. This was a long time back, and he had two girls, and one of the girls did something wrong. I didn't even notice what she did. Then I found the abuna, took her to the room, and they kept talking and they kept negotiating, and I didn't know what's going on. So when Abuna finished this, I asked him, so what's going on? And he told me, I was just giving my daughter an option of the punishment. So I told him, from where did you get this? And Abuna told me, do you remember when David sinned? Do you remember the story of David? When he started counting the whole nation, he sent people to count the nation because it is his mindset of being prideful. All of this I have achieved, كل الحاجات دي أنا عملتها on my own. I have done this and I have done that. And God يقول كده وقبح ذلك الفعل في عيني الرب. And it was very detested in the eyes of God that David did this. But do you remember what did the Lord do with David?
Yeah, he gave him 3 choices.
He gave him 3 choices. Excellent point. He gave him 3 choices. Told him to fall in the hands of your enemies, to have a plague, and I don't recall the third thing. And this is when David said, "الوقوع في يد الله خير من الوقوع في يد الإنسان." To fall in the hands of God is better than to fall in the hands of man. And it gives a lot of ownership and respect to the kids when we are telling them, you know what, this was a really bad choice. So how we are going to deal with this? What do you think? No screen for 2 days, or missing out on the next ice cream trip? And they keep they can't start manipulating, or you can't start trying to avoid both, but putting them in the position of that we are giving them options, we are giving them choices. So we lose control when we demand it, partly because it represents such a deep-seated need. How strong is this inborn need? Consider the following. And it continues, do you enjoy waiting in a rush hour traffic? Definitely not, because we don't have control over it. Would you rather have a car with 2 windshield wiper or speeds, or 4 windshield wiper speeds? You'll always want more options, more control, more varieties. Do you like being bossed around at work or treated with more respect? Would you rather live in a democratic country or a dictatorship? Something deep within our human nature so strongly desires control that most of us will do almost anything to experiencing it. In fact, this need is so strong that we will even do self-destructive things to get it. Have you ever missed an entire show searching for a remote control for your television? Have you ever seen someone risk multiple lives just to get one car length ahead on a busy highway? Have you ever met a child who was willing to fail in an entire year of school just to prove to his parents that he was the one in control? Oh, it keeps happening all the time, all the time, all the time. And the amazing thing is, when we demand control, we lose it. When we demand love, we also lose it. Have you heard this? حبني وخد ريال. المحبة مش بالحيال. Someone is saying, حبني, love me, and I will give you money. So the one who responded is saying, you know what? Love cannot be purchased. You cannot just bribe me or give me money to love you. It just comes out of the heart. And it is the same idea with the control, because the more we are mindful to control the kids, the more they are rebelling and they want to get out of our control. Even, I don't know if you have seen this picture or not before. The picture of Saint Macarius the Great. I don't know. This is a very famous picture of Abu Ma'ar or Saint Macarius. What is he doing with his hands? Is he holding anything? Why Saint Macarius is doing his hands like this? This is a very unique. You will never see any of the saints do. Either he's holding his hands like this, not holding anything, and just posing it in this manner, as if he's giving two high fives.
He doesn't want anything from the world?
You are not that far. He
will not take anything with us.
Yeah, the first thing he said, we are naked when we came to the world, and we are going to leave the world naked, so we are not going to take anything with us. And the second thing is that don't get attached to things. You know, if for example, if Basim wants this flower, okay, and you are holding it in your hand, and I'm telling you, Bella, this is mine, and we keep going back and forth, in the end, we will lose the flower, or we will have a fight, or we will struggle, or because both of us we don't want to let go, because we are attached to this. I know a person who lost all his fortune, all his money, because he didn't want to let go. So he had many rental properties. The real estate business is going down. Things is falling apart. People are losing their homes. And he said, "No, I'm not going to let any of my apartment, any of my rental properties go. I will keep them, and I will not give them to the bank." So the first bank, he is not releasing the property, the tenant is not paying, second property, third property, fourth property. If he let go those properties, he would have been able to keep up with whatever he has. But he kept holding fast to all the rental properties, and he had a lot. Everything fell apart, and unfortunately he had to file bankruptcy. So the concept, and this is a very strong concept also for us spiritually, that we want to have control over our life, we want to have control of our finances, we want to have control of our decisions. But in every day we pray, in every time we read the scripture, in every time we stand in front of God, we tell God, Thy will be done. لتكن مشيئتك. طب what does it mean? If God's will to be done, this means that my will, I'm letting go my own will. I don't care about it. But in reality, unfortunately, it is not happening. So control is life or death matter. We can share it or risk that our kids will harm themselves trying to wrench it out of our hands. Control is a life or death matter. We can share it or risk that our kids will harm themselves trying to wrench it out of our hands. The more we give space to the kids and also to the people who are around us to have control on their decisions. So what do you think? What do you want to do? How you want to process this? I was in a situation with one of the kids. They had an activity in the school, and they have been waiting for this activity for a while, and this activity came that it will be in the time of the Lent, and this activity is few hours before the liturgy, and now they have the situation is if they participated in this activity and they ate food, they are not going to take communion because they are going to miss the liturgy because they didn't fast. And if they choose to do this, they fast, then they are missing out on the activity. I know many parents will say, you know what, you have to be sure, don't eat, this is the rules, you don't do this, you do this, and we put and lay down every single aspect of it, and we don't give the kids any space to choose. And they told me what we are going to do. I told them, I don't know, it's your call. There is a time you have fun in school, you are going to eat, and this will be on the expenses of not going to church but not taking communion. And there is another option of you abstain from food for taking communion. And you can throw in one of the nice life rules: the one who loves God make right choices and disappear, and don't go in this or this is what I did. And this kid chose to participate in the party and not to take communion. The whole point is when we give them the option to make their choices, we don't get back at them and rebuke them and put them down and make them feel guilty. But it is important to return back and say, you know what? Okay, you know what? You had the choice. You did this, and you processing or going in depth in the process of how they made the decision is making a difference than controlling their decision, and you must do this, and I told you to do this, and you never listen. And it goes really, really, really out of control, and we are not benefiting anything because the kids are going to face this anyway. So, yes.
Sometimes the choice may affect with the parents. So an example, very simple. Yesterday I was coming with my daughter and it's very cold outside. She doesn't want to wear her jacket. We have some argument about this one. If she gets sick, somebody has to stay with her.
Yes.
So how you
the
deal with it?
for the sake of the recording, the daughter, it is cold outside. The daughter doesn't want to take the jacket, and it's a good question, because if she gets sick, you have to take day off from school, from work, and she is going to miss school as well, and this will be the question of whether this is an affordable decision or a non-affordable decision. An affordable, so I can afford, giving them the choice. Okay, you know what? But there will be consequences for this option, or I can put my foot down and say, you know what? This is going to happen. You are going to put on the jacket. It's always the call of how I'm going to deal with it in this time. Yes, Karim.
I was just going to say, this is, as a parent, I think this is one of the toughest things, right? Because we always want to protect our kids, we always want to make the right decisions for them. But I thought about it lately. I had to hire 5 people. And one of the things I look for is being able to be decisive, right? Being able to be in a situation and make a decision based on that situation. So I'm thinking to myself, am I preparing my kids to be a decisive person, or am I preparing them to be dependent on somebody else to make decisions for them? So I think that the jacket of the cold is something, and I don't know if it's just an Egyptian thing or what, but we all do the same thing, right? You're not leaving the house without putting the jacket on. And I have this argument all the time. And I think if we let go a little bit, and for me, I can speak personally, it's tough for me because I don't want them to be cold. I don't want them to, I'm not, it's not like I'm doing it because I'm a tyrant, but in my head, I'm doing the right thing for my kids. But am I preparing my kids to become this decisive person when they're older, or even right now, are they becoming this decisive person that can make those decisions based on maybe some bad experiences? Maybe they go and they're cold for one day. I don't know, but it's kind of tough. But it's important also to build character, decisive character in the kids as well.
You will never build a decisive character when you don't give them options. When you take the control, when the control is in my hand and they don't have an option, then they will rebel and we are going to escalate. And it's a power struggle. And I think it's always, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But I see, for example, I'm picking on my kids to take the jacket on, and I'm seeing kids who are swimming in a cold swimming pool in the winter. And they are okay. And even some of my kids were doing this. So sometimes also are overreacting. البس الفانيلا يا حبيبي لحسن يجي لك لطشة برد. Put on your vanilla, something will happen to you. But in reality maybe avoid taking a hot shower and going in the cold weather. All of this. But in reality, this is something. Yes, we grew up. All of us have heard this from our parents, and we keep. But the key is, the more we are self-aware that we need to, we need to give them the opportunity to decide. And though my experience with this, one of my kids was not that good because they ended up not taking communion in that liturgy. But it is a process. It is a process that I need to return back and, you know what, okay, you had this option, you had this option. What really was going in your mind? Did you miss it? Did you do the right thing? What we will do different next time? And it is important to be aware of this, because I think one of the challenges in our church, we were in Florida. We had almost 130 abunas. We were split into different groups, and we were discussing about one of the real case studies. One of the case studies was about a youth when started driving, completely left the church, which is very common. 80% of church youth, they leave the church in the first year of college. 80% of church, الولاد اللي بيجوا الكنيسة, they leave church in the first year of college. This is nationwide. This is not in the Coptic church only. And it's important to we spoke about many factors, but one of the things that was brought up is in all the sister Protestant churches, they always ask you, have you accepted Christ? Have you accepted Christ? Have you accepted Christ? Have you accepted Christ? And we never hear acceptance of Christ ever in our church. Have you heard about this before? And if anyone in the Coptic church or in the Orthodox faith is saying, have you accepted Christ, then he will be a Protestant. But the whole point is, أما الذين قبلوه فأعطاهم سلطانا أن يسيروا أبناء الله. For those who accepted him, he gave them the power to be the children of God in the Gospel of John chapter 1. So, are you there? So we never give the kids even or ask them about, are you really following God, or you are dragged into the church? Are you really willing to go and to do and live with God, or it is just pulling teeth? So I came with an idea. We did it in a junior high retreat in one of the years, because I kept asking many of the abunas, because my multi-million-dollar question is how to get the concept of accepting Christ in the Orthodox faith. This was my challenge, because the Protestant, when they are approaching the people in this approach, I think it is legitimate, because no one is asking us, have you really accepted Christ? Then I asked one of the abunas, and I told him about this concept, and he told me this abuna is in Egypt. He never prayed the baptism in English ever. And abuna is replying me with the English thoughts of the baptism, and he told me, after renouncing Satan, بعد جحد الشيطان, we look to the east and we lift up our right hand and we say, I accept you, O Christ, my God. So it is there deeply, even in the mind of the church. Very, 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 we are speaking about the baptism sacrament is one of the oldest liturgical prayer ever in the church. And very, very, very minimal changes happen. عشان كده حتى أقول لك cast the demons out, and very, very weird, and remove from them the worship of idols. Worship of idols? No one is worshiping idols. انزع منهم عبادة الأوثان. So, and Abuna told me, it is there in the time of baptism. We say we go to the east, but who is doing it here? The mom and the dad, but the child is very small or very young. So this idea came that we create a baptismal certificate, just a symbol of a baptismal certificate, not an official certificate, but a certificate that has the name of the kid. We got the names of baptism from, and the dates of baptism from the parents in the junior high. We did the certificate, and in the certificate, we missed putting this, but we should have put, I accept you, O Christ, my God, this part of the baptism. And when you are, for example, Basim and Lina and myself, who want to go, the three of us, and purchase an apartment building. So they check on our income. They said, you know what, it is okay, you are approved. You go all the way to the escrow to sign the docs. And in the day of signing, Lina said, you know what, I'm not signing. So, but both of us signed. Will this be effective escrow? Will it go? Will it move forward? Never, because you need the third signature of the third person. And here, when the idea came, so we created the baptismal certificate. We have the signature of the priest. We have the signature of the parents, the second signature, and we kept the signature, the third signature for the junior high kid. And we told them, you know what? This is called the third signature. Mom and dad have done this a while ago. When you were very little, in the day of your baptism, they said on your behalf, I accept you, Christ. The church did this because this is what we believe in, and this is what the role of the clergy. But there should be a time that you really ask yourself, are you pursuing God? Do you want to follow God? Are you wholeheartedly returning back to God and living a life that is pleasing to God, or no? So one of the abunas said, but this is very risky. What if the kid said, you are not going to sign?
Their choice. Yeah, Abuna, actually, in the Catholic Church, pre-baptism and then the confirmation, like the junior high or something like that. I think the confirmation in the Orthodox Church happens with the baptism.
Yes.
And then confirmed, but confirmation happens.
The confirmation, in the Catholic Church, the confirmation happens when they are 12 or 13 years old.
A little bit older.
And one of the abunas in the retreat is very knowledgeable in the history of the church, and he said we had something like this where the mom and the dad will go to the church in front of the altar, and they will tell their kid, this is the time that you choose your father of confession, and continue your spiritual life with this. Then كان في طقس ده. In the Coptic church, we had to return back and check exactly in the historical books about it. But my point is, when we give control, we share the control, then the kid they are buying into. When we take the control all in our hands, and you are going to do this, and you are going to fast, and you are going to go to church, and you are going to confess, and you are going, then they said, you know what, okay, fine, till an opportune time when they will really flip, take the car keys, and they will do whatever. And even if the kids said, you know what, I don't want to sign the third signature, I think this is a golden opportunity for us to ask, what is the reason why you don't want to sign? Maybe they believe that they think that the Bible is not true. Maybe they think that the church is fake. Maybe they think that whatever. They have things in their mind, they have questions in their mind, and we never responded, or we never went back to really address genuinely, wholeheartedly these questions, and we are just putting the, you know, احنا كله تمام يا ريس, we have no problems, and the kids are fine, and there is no big deal. So I think it is very, very, very crucial. Control is life or death matter. We can share it. We can share control or risk that our kids will harm themselves trying to wrench it out of our hands.
Abuna, sorry, I have a question about the whole going to church part as well. So I heard somewhere where it says when the kids are young, we force them to go to church. And then when they're a little bit older, we take them to church because we're all going to church, so they kind of have to go to church, so they follow. And then the third phase, which is when they have their choice, then they're going to go by themselves. Is that equation right, or is that?
It depends on every family because the level of control. But I think it is better to give the kids more control when they have to come with us. For example, my son he is coming to church, but he doesn't want to dress as a deacon.
When we're talking about age?
11, 12. Look, everything is peaceful. From 10 to 12, all the boat is being really, really shaken hard. When in the 12 mark, the influence of the parents goes down all the way. And in 12, the influence of the friends goes up. And in 12, now it is not only the friends, it is the social media is going even more than the friends. So the 12, so if you have a 11, 12 years old son or daughter, and you are planning this great vacation, and they are telling you, I don't want to go with you, it's better for me to stay with my friends. Don't get offended. Don't take this personal, because this is the normal development of the kids in this age. They would love to stay with their friends much more than they stay with their parents. So they don't hate you, they respect you, they love you, they care about you, but they are in this phase of their life that they want to, you know, the cocoon and the butterfly, they want to blossom, they want to go on their own, they want to explore things. So I think it's my question is, the more we are genuine, really asking the kids about their will. So, do you want to go to church? No, I don't want to go to church. So why you don't want to go to church? Because I received a heartbreaking phone call from one of the ladies that I never saw, and she told me her daughter, 12 years old, is an atheist. So I told her, how she's an atheist at 12 years old? She told me she doesn't believe in God, she doesn't believe in the church, she doesn't. So I told her, and she told me she was very obedient, very nice, very kind growing up. Till when she was 10 years old, they moved churches and moved countries. She arrived to the new country, the new church. All the girls are closed groups, and she is not accepted in the other group. And they made fun of her, and they put her down, and they bullied her. So she said, you know what, this is the environment that you want me to go? if those are the Christians, then their God does not exist for me. It's a very, very serious approach in a very heartbreaking setting. You know what? Because to that extent, those group of friends, they didn't even accept her, and on the contrary, they put her down, and they rebelled her, or they pushed her outside of the church. So in a girl in a situation like this, I need really to go in depth and dig more deeper in the reasons why she's feeling this way. Try different churches, but the whole point is you are going غصب عنك. هتروحي. There is no way out. For 2 years she has been pushed. So she is pushed to go, and they are pushing her to go out. You see the pressure from both sides. So now it led to a very, very tough situation. So I think my personal prayer every day is that God will give me wisdom in the decisions. Every day you have tons of options, tons of choices. To do this or do this, force it or let go, push it through, or is no big deal. We keep getting bombarded with thousands of decisions every single day. And I think, and my belief is, if one is lacking wisdom, الذي يعوزه الحكمة فليطلب من الله غير مرتاب البتة. The one who lacks wisdom, let him ask from God and tell him, God, you know what, I'm clueless. I need wisdom, and I need you to guide me, and I need you to help me in this, and I need you to support me in this decision. So I think it is not not phase 1 is forcing, phase 2 we are going together, and phase 3 you are on your own. The process, and even if you have 2 or 3 kids, each one has his own or her own mindset, completely different than the other. I'm going for my friends. No, I'm going because I love Tasbih and Coptic. No, I'm going because I love my Sunday school teacher. No, I hate church because I have seen this person who is really treating me mean. So each one has his own experience. So the more we go in the depth, and the more we let them have more control over the things that doesn't have a high price tag, if they did the mistake, then the more we can catch it up earlier. We saw this, right?
No.
Here's a question for you. If you go down to the bank and you make enough little deposits over a period of time, will they eventually let you come in and take a big withdrawal? Yes or no? Yes. Makes sense. And that's the very same thing we do when we're giving kids choices. Because we don't give kids choices to discipline them. We give them choices so they will have the luxury of being able to make a mistake, so that their control needs can be met in a healthy way. And what that means is they get to make decisions about the things that affect them directly, but not about things that affect us or the family. And so that's the whole idea. I want to give as many choices as possible to my kids when everything is going well, before they've ever had a chance to get resistant. Don't use it as a disciplinary tool, but when I need to, I can go to them and say, aren't I usually pretty reasonable? Don't I usually let you decide things around here when I can? I do, don't I? Well, it's my turn this time. Thanks for understanding. And so what we have here is the rules and guidelines for giving kids choices. Teachers tell me that the more choices they can give in a classroom, the more calm that classroom is. The less problems they have. The better relationship they have with the kids. Is that true only of a classroom, or is that true of home? What do you think? It's home too. Now, does that apply to business? What would you like to have for a boss? Somebody who makes every decision, do it my way or else? Or somebody who's there to say, here's the project, here's what we need, here's the timeline, you decide. And then when they come and say, hey, today I can't let you decide, you say, hey, no big deal, because later on I'll get to make another decision. So let's go through those one at a time. The first one says, only give choices that fit your value system. Just think about this. Give a kid a choice you like and one you don't like. Which one will they invariably go for, everybody? One you don't like. Okay. So they must fit your value system and you feel really good about it. If you want to run an experiment, here's one for you. The next time you go somewhere, 10 minutes before time to leave, ask your kid this. Do you want to go right now or would you rather wait for 10 minutes? And see what happens. And then come back and tell us after that. And usually what we find is just the very fact that the child feels like he has some control over it, you just have a lot fewer problems. But we don't want to be giving them choices we like or that we don't like. How about that second one? It says 99% of your choices should be when everything is going well. We use other techniques when things are going poorly. How about giving the choices? Number 3. Before the kid says no, before the child is resistant. What if I were to do this with my child? Drink your milk. He says, no. Well, you want milk or juice? Does it sound like I'm running this house? No. Is that healthy control? No. So, juice or milk before he says no. You know, if he says no, and I slip up and I don't give him a choice, maybe it's a good time to say, well, I'm usually pretty reasonable, but I'd like to be unreasonable this time. Thank you for understanding. So, you need to fall back on that frequently. How about the next one? You have 2 options. We don't want to overload kids with choices. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to dress and be ready to go by the time the car leaves, or would you rather wait and carry your clothes out to the car in a bag and dress on your way or in the parking lot, you know? Because I could be happy with either one of those, right? Yeah. I'm not going to give them a choice. Do you want to dress now or go to school without any clothes? No. And by the way, on that, in case they do go with their clothes in a bag, call the school ahead of time so they don't think you're crazy or abusive. Call and say, hey, we're having a little training session here. How about the next one?
He's a principal, that's why he's...
disguise threats as choices. Let's try it as an adult. I'm your boss and I say, do you want to turn your project in before you leave today or would you rather get fired? That's a threat. We're not going to do that with our kids either, you know. Would you rather rake the lawn or would you rather do the laundry so I'll have time to rake the lawn? See, I can live with both of those choices. And how about the next one? It says here, don't be afraid to say I usually give choices, but not this time. We just practiced that one, didn't we? And now we come to a really important one. The last one. Give a kid a choice, and then do not wait very long before you make the choice for him. I used to say, back in my more foolish days, you make the choice within 10 seconds. I think that's wrong. Kids have a little time clock in their head. So they know if you're going to do it in 10 seconds, they can wait that long. They'll do it in 9. So why not just say to yourself, I wait 2 or 3 seconds, and if they can't decide, I decide. And one of the kids said, yeah, but I was thinking about it. I was thinking, well, maybe you'll think faster next time. But there will always be more times to have some choices.
So for the sake of the time, so far, do you have any questions?
Is it a good thing to give choices, like not as punishment choices? So let's say in the morning I usually ask my daughter, what do you want for breakfast? And then, you know, we're going to school and we're almost late and she wants eggs. So my husband keeps telling me, why did you give her all the choices. Just tell her there's cereal or there's bread or something, and just. So is it good that I'm giving her choices, or I shouldn't?
Overarching, it is always good to give them choices because we are letting them part of the decision. Usually, we follow through and we obey a decision that we have been part of. So, but realistically, if I know that I am rushing and maybe this is not the optimum choice,
Yeah.
then I don't leave it open-ended question, what do you want for breakfast? Because I don't have the time to prepare whatever they have, and now they will be frustrated or angry or. And I learned this with, well, for example, cutting if I have one apple and I dare to cut the apple without asking them. So I cut the apple. No, I want to eat it when it is whole. Okay, now the apple is cut and we have no other apples and that's it. So I figured out that also asking them because so as not to avoid any drama, and when they are part of the decision, usually it is much easier. That's great.
But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what they're talking about is giving choices, not open-ended questions. So if I struggle with breakfast. I make breakfast for my kids every morning. So if I ask, what do you want for breakfast? They always tell me something ridiculous. I can't really make.
Or it's not there.
But it's a lot easier if I give always three choices. I always give them three choices. What I can make this morning, and it depends on when we woke up and if they're ready or not, and how much time I have left.
Yes.
I give them three appropriate choices. And with the cutting of the apple too, it's funny because I want them to eat an apple. So instead of asking them, do you want an apple, I always ask, do you want me to cut the apple for you, or do you want to eat it whole like that?
So there's no
So
option.
I'm really asking them or telling them eat an apple,
Which way do you want it?
but I'm giving them a choice, so they're not answering me as I don't want an apple. Yeah, I want it cut, or no, I don't want it cut. I'll eat it like this, and that's it. So it makes it a little easier.
Yes, but sometimes also they will tell you, no, I don't want to.
Oh yeah, I know, but at least I have
Yes.
better chances.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come and say, nice try.
Yeah. I want chocolate. Chocolate covered apple.
I'm kind of confused from this video. What does he really mean about when it sometimes gives him a choice, but most of the time,
No,
like stop and just
so
make a decision.
in peaceful times and when things the relationship is good, there is no tension, he is highly encouraging to give them more choices. But he is saying, okay, if you are giving them choices and they take very long time to decide, then you make the decision because you need to move on with your day. And if they said, Abbas, no, you didn't give me time to choose, I'm sorry about this, you make the decision in the car. Or many times you want to say something when we are in rush, when we are rushed and we are getting ready and we need to move in the car. And one of the people was visiting us, and I saw him doing this very nice, simple rule. He said, this is a rush hour, or this is a rush time. When it is a rush time, you don't ask questions, you follow rules very quickly. It is like the military style. When we go in the car, no rush time, you can ask whatever you want and you can do whatever. So because I noticed that once he said it's rush time, the kids, their demeanor changed. They were more efficient. They put their shoes on quickly. So it's just those sometimes simple things that it helps, especially when the kids are younger, that we can at least get through or do whatever we need to go through very quickly. I think we'll stop here and. The last video, effective versus ineffective choices. It is in page 37 in the book that you have. I think it's an helpful one to go through, but for the sake of the time, we'll stop here. You'll find it page 37 in the workbook. It has a lot of examples of sharing the decisions, if this is effective or not. So we'll stop here, and God willing, next time we'll continue session 5. We have 2 more sessions. Then this program will be done. And by the way, if you want to dig more in this, there is Love and Logic book for kids, and there is Love and Logic book for teenagers. And
You mean for parents that with the kids age that age, or
yeah,
you give it to our kids to read?
no, for us as parents.
Then they know what we're trying to do.
But it's I think it's one of the different tools that, like a toolbox, you have different tools that you can use and resort to in dealing with the parenting, and I think also with adults it makes a difference. Just few announcements.